Hey everyone, and welcome back. I am actually in a new setting today, if you can maybe tell. But yeah, I'm actually back in Germany now for a little while, as I have a lot of organizational things to do, but I will share more about this in an upcoming video. One of the most common questions I get in relation to my house in Sweden is actually on the financial aspects. So today I thought I'll give you a little honest insight into all the costs that I had in relation to my house purchase and also my running costs that I have, so you can get a better understanding in what to expect if you're maybe also planning to do something like this in the future. But maybe a bit of background story first. So in the beginning, I honestly didn't even think that I would ever be able to buy a house anywhere, like not in Sweden. But then one day I took a look at some online listings, actually just for fun, just to see what is out there, what would be the price ranges that I would have to consider. And I was honestly so positively surprised by how affordable some of those places actually were. So with this video, I'm also hoping to give you a better insight into what to expect, and also to show you that perhaps if you also have this dream of owning a house in Sweden, that it actually is something that could be achievable for you as well, and that it doesn't have to remain a dream. So when I started to look at listings of houses, I had just been working full-time for about 2 years, so I didn't have a crazy amount of savings that I could spend on the house. So I knew from the beginning that my maximum budget would probably be around 30,000 euros, dollars. As I knew this would be a realistic amount of what I could probably achieve in my current situation. I had no clue if this was realistic or if I would even be able to find something within this range, but I thought I will try and I will see what I could find. And of course, I also consider just waiting a few more years and saving up more funds so that in a few years' time I would have more available funds, so I could perhaps buy something bigger or at like a prime location. But honestly, at that point, I was like, no, I don't want to wait any longer, because you also never know what can happen in the future. And you don't know how the market will develop, and perhaps in the future foreigners cannot buy houses anymore in Sweden, or house prices will triple or whatever. So I decided I will try. If I manage to find something, it's meant to be. If I don't find something, I'll see what I'll do. And I also thought, just because you buy a house, it doesn't mean that it has to be your forever home. And, if I realize down the line that my preferences have changed, I don't like the house anymore, I don't like the location, whatever, I need more space, it's always something you can deal with, and it doesn't have to be permanent. And also, it's not such a massive investment as if I were to buy a house for, let's say, 500,000 or something. So yeah. All right, but now let's jump right in to get to the part that you actually came for. I will have to use my little helper here because I don't have all the numbers in my head. But yeah, so actually my house consists of 2 properties. So I have basically my house and then a second property on which you can find my guest house. So all the costs I will now cover are basically for both of the houses. So just to keep this in mind, I'm basically paying for 2 houses. Okay, so first off, I actually did manage to find something within my budget, and I bought my house for 320,000 Swedish krona, which is about 28,000 euros or $30,000. So I was very happy about this because it was exactly within my range. Then I had to make a down payment of 10%. This can range a little bit. So I would say standard is between 10 to 15%, which you have to pay once you've signed the purchase contract. So in my case, this was 32,000 Swedish krona, which is about like 2.8 thousand euros. Then I had to pay the entry into the land register. So there you pay 1.5% of the purchase price plus an admin fee. So in my case, I had to pay 6,375 krona and 825 krona for the admin fee. So this is around 600 bucks, more or less. Then you also pay property tax on a yearly basis, and this is usually 0.75% of the tax value of your property. So this depends a little bit on your property. For me, this is around 2,000 krona, so yeah, a bit less than 200 euros, more or less. And then also the costs for the realtor, which surprisingly are none. Because in Sweden, it's actually the seller that has to cover the fees for the realtor and not the buyer. So on your side, there's no costs related to this, which is great. Okay, so those were basically the main expenses I had around the house purchase. Then you obviously have renovation costs that come on top of this. This also depends a little bit on the status of your house and how well it's maintained. Honestly, on my properties, I don't have to do anything, at least not in the main house. Which was important to me actually, because I do not have many renovation skills other than painting a wall white, which is not too helpful if you have major stuff to do. So this was important to me, that I don't have to do any major updates and that most of the things are mainly cosmetic, that I am able to live there during winter and that it's like winter proofed and winter ready, and yeah, that there's no major issues with the roof or anything related to this. So I was very happy that in my house this was actually not the case. All of the upgrades basically are cosmetic, so it's basically just changing wallpapers, and perhaps down the line I can do some bigger upgrades and renovations, but I don't have to do anything. So that's good, because I was also like, I wanted to take a bit of time and like actually live in the house before I decide what to do and what I wanna change, and if I want to do any like fundamental changes and so on. But yeah, in the guest house, I think I will have to put a bit more money in terms of renovation, but I will get someone in the next year to have a closer look at the house and basically tell me what would be the most important things to do there. But I think so far, maybe with all the things that I've done, because I also had to get furniture and so on, I would say I maybe spent like 50,000 krona on this, so maybe like around 5,000 euros or something. But this is just an estimate because I didn't really keep proper track of this, but I would say around this range, more or less. And then I would say, let's come to my monthly expenses that I have. So we have the house insurance that I'm paying. And again, all those expensive, as I mentioned before, are for both of the houses. So just keep this in mind, that you could probably half it if you just have one house. But yeah, so for the house insurance, I pay around 8,000 krona per year, which is, yeah, maybe like 700 euros more or less. I will put this down properly somewhere on the side. But yeah, so we have, yeah, around 700 more or less for the year. But I pay this in one go at the beginning of the year. Then we have water and trash. So I get communal water from the municipality, and that covers water, sewage, and yeah, for them to pick up my trash. And this is the same amount each month. So it doesn't matter how much water I use. It basically is always the same. And this is 825 krona. Yeah. 70, more or less 70 euros per month. Okay, then Wi-Fi and internet. So I already had fiber installed in the house, about which I was very happy. If you don't have it in your house yet, I think the fee or like the cost to get it drilled or like get it installed in the house is around 2,000 krona. No, 20,000, I think. Yeah, it's about 2,000 euros more or less. But yeah, I already had this in the house, so I didn't have to worry about this. And now I spend probably around 300 krona each month. So yeah, around 25 euros on Wi-Fi. But this also includes like a fee that I have to pay for being connected to the Stadsnet, the provider, whatever, and yeah, so yeah, around 25 more or less per month that I pay, and it's working pretty good. I've never had any problems, given that I'm in the middle of nowhere. It's definitely better than a lot of the Wi-Fi I had in Germany, so yeah. Okay, and then electricity is probably my main expense. And again, here it depends really on the month and the season that we have. So in winter, I obviously pay a lot more than in summer. But I heat with firewood, so I also have extra expenses on top of this. I think last year I paid around 7,000 krona to get firewood delivered, and yeah. But then I also have an air heating pump installed in the house, so I can also heat with electricity, for instance, whenever I'm not there, or just in addition, because just the firewood doesn't get it like super hot in the house, and yeah, there it depends a little bit on the month. So I think in my worst month. I think that was in January probably, I paid 3,000 krona, so a bit less than 300 bucks. And I would say in winter it's probably in this range that I pay between 2,000 to 3,000 for electricity. And then in summer it's usually, yeah, I would say maybe around 800 krona, more or less. I am planning to install solar panels in the future, so that at least in summer I'm kind of like paying nothing for it, and then yeah, I just know that winters will get more expensive. Again, I will also look into options how to maybe improve this in the future, so I get everything a bit more efficient, so I don't have bills like this every winter. But yeah, those are, I would say, the main ones that I have related to the house. Then of course there's occasionally the chimney sweeper that is coming. I think mine comes twice a year, and then I usually pay around 500 krona to have him check my chimney. So this is like an occasional expense, but yeah, I would say those are the main ones that I have for the house. If you're interested, I can also do a bigger breakdown, also related to fuel and my food expenses and everything. If you're interested in this, I can definitely do this also in an upcoming video, just to give you a better understanding what life costs in Sweden. But yeah, I probably also have to mention that my house is in the countryside and not in a big city. So you obviously cannot expect to find house prices like this in bigger cities. For instance, if you're looking around Stockholm or Gothenburg, pretty sure you will not be able to find something like this. But especially in the northern parts of Sweden, it's not uncommon. And yeah, in the countryside in general, this is definitely a possibility. All right, that was pretty much it. I really hope this is helpful to you. If you have any questions around other financial aspects or my house journey in general, I'm also planning to do a bit more in-depth video in the future around my entire house buying journey in Sweden. So if you're interested to see that, I would love to have you stick around. All right, have a great day.